As a reminder, guys, if you didn't know, 2023 is coming to a close, and we are going to go over in this video some of my top things to make Pokemon Go great in 2024 and what necessary steps will be needed to rejuvenate the game in Pokemon Go. So welcome to the Trainer Club. Here we go. Before we go any further, give me some constructive criticism for the game. Not that this game sucks, but in your opinion, what does this game need? As far as maybe an event standpoint, as far as interaction standpoint, as far as leadership standpoint, coming from Niantic and the Pokemon Company, because just remember, they are paired together in this process, and nothing can really go through this game if Pokemon does not improve it. So if Pokemon were to be reading this video's comments, what would be a good one? Drop them in the comments below and let us know how this game needs to be improved. From my perspective, the number one thing overall, and I've talked about this in multiple videos, including some of the features needed in 2024, but this is beyond just features. This is a whole entire gameplay remapping. The number one feature is interactability, and this was slightly covered in that video. If you want to see all the features I talk about up here, interactability, what do I mean by that? I mean that the game needs to be able to be contributed to more from a standpoint of drive. So if I'm a player and I am good at being a collector or something like battling or whatever that is, something that gives me incentive to do all of these things in Pokemon Go. Because as of right now, really the only incentive is to get better ones, to get rare ones, to get more Stardust, and to get more XP. And obviously candy and XL candy, but that comes to powering up a Pokemon. But there's nothing really in the game that allows me to go in, to be a very dedicated trainer, to best buddy my Pokemon, to do adventures with that Pokemon, and to level that Pokemon up specifically. And even if it were just one IV point from a ton of interactions, it would be totally worth it for me. In certain situations, maybe I have a 98% IV Pokemon. But if you have a Pokemon that you've done over 1,000 gym battles with, you've done over 100 raid battles with, you've done over 1,000 PvP, you've held it 1,000 hours in a gym, that Pokemon should then become eligible by being a best buddy to be able to be ranked up. There's nothing that really drives that type of sense of interaction where it's like, okay, me and my Pokemon work together to make this happen, and this is what happened because of our dedication and hard work. And so allowing us to be able to go into the game, to be able to interact, and to be able to, I wouldn't say manipulate, even though that's the word I want to use, to positively influence your game to make your person and your Pokemon better. I think that is the biggest thing that misses in the game, something that is a massive gap, because once you do all your grinding, you've got to level 50, and then you got a ton of Stardust, and you're just sitting there, and I know that takes potentially years to be able to do. There's nothing that really drives you at a next level to be able to interact with this game and your Pokemon that gives you that next level bond. Yeah, sure, you could best buddy them, but what happens to the best buddy? It gets to level 51. That's awesome. But there's not a beyond that standpoint, and I think that's the biggest thing that misses in Pokemon Go. So that's number one. Number two, I think there needs to be some type of event remapping. So as of right now, when events happen, basically every time an event ends, you have 2 to 3 days, and then you have another event. And it's very basic. We have Pokemon comes out. We have a shiny encounter that comes out. We have a couple bonuses, and we keep going on. And that event cycle just keeps going and going. And the only thing that really makes those events that much better is either you get a good bonus where it's like, oh, wow, we have 3 times catch Stardust and XP for a week, which was a crazy bonus. Or 4 times. And then what else happens? We get a really cool bunch of Pokemon spawning. Oh my gosh, Tyrant and Amora are spawning and their shiny is out. What makes a real good event right now? Those type of things. Or oh my gosh, we have a brand new legendary Pokemon that's being dropped. And while I think all those things are very fun, they're very exciting, they do leave out a little bit of next level exploration. Maybe a challenge during an event that if you get that challenge done, you get some type of cool prize, you know, something that gives you more incentive to work for things once again in Pokemon Go. There's nothing wrong with tailoring your entire game to make sure that everybody is welcome to play that game. I love that. And Pokemon Go has done a good job at creating many features out here that are good for this. But there has to be a little bit of an incentive that if you get better at this specific thing, then you get rewarded for that specific thing. So you can, and you can, and you can, and I've heard them say multiple times how proud of themselves they are for not doing specific models, but there's nothing wrong with tailoring towards 2 different groups of people. You have the regular normal players, which they obviously do a ton of, and then you have the people that want to delve into your game a little bit deeper, and why not have both of those people be able to be interacted with, right? So I think that different type of event layout would be good, something that you can earn, something that's a little bit more challenging for that. The next feature that I think that is really cool, I actually really like the party play feature. I think that the raid bonuses are fantastic. The one thing, once again, that becomes a little bit of a challenge is you can't work for anything super significant. I think there was a challenge one time where it was like, use 50 Ultra Balls to catch Pokemon, and then in return you got 3 Ultra Balls, or you got like 900 Stardust. These rewards are so insignificant in the game that it's actually mind-blowing. Like, why go out there besides the research that gets you absolutely nothing to do that? There's no incentive. Why not say, hey, you can make 50 excellent throws or 100 excellent throws, and I'm gonna give you 10 Ultra Balls or 15 Ultra Balls. I mean, that's not really that far out there. So for me personally, hearing that and thinking that, I'm just like, man, you could do so much more with this if you just drove a little bit more incentive. Or, oh, if you caught 100 Pokemon with excellent throws, you get a premium battle pass. Something that's actually pretty challenging, right? So if you're able to do that and you're a good enough trainer, you can earn that. There's nothing wrong with earning a little bit of stuff. I'm not saying to do it all the time. I'm not saying to give away thousands of raid passes to every single person. I'm saying that if you're able to complete a challenging task, you'll be able to do it. And you could even level up party play where it's like, okay, you're a beginner. How many of these challenges do you need to complete, maybe in a time frame or not a time frame, before you get to intermediate level tasks? So you can either stay in beginner and then you can move to intermediate, and then when you go into party play, it's like, hey, do you want beginner or do you want intermediate? And then once you graduate through intermediate, do you want to get beginner, intermediate, or do you want to be challenging, depending on who you're playing with? So you get an option. Like, there's multiple things that can be done here, and then on that challenging one, those are like the 100, the 150, the 200 excellent throws to catch Pokemon, and then you get more premium battle rewards for those things. It makes sense. It's a earn to play type game. So let us earn, similar to Fortnite. You can get all the way to level 200 and you earn the entire battle pass. You get the extras, everything you get into level 100, but then if you go over, you're able to get more. You're able to get a little bit more than you spent. You're able to get more skins, more cool stuff. That means you're interacting with their game more, which means they're winning. And so allow people to interact with Pokemon Go more, but just at a deeper level. That's the biggest missing thing for me in this game, and that's obviously the theme that you're going to see in all these different things that we talk about, and the landscape of the game. And here's what I mean by that. So as of right now, there's no really incentives to create a cool park area. Like, I'm in a park right now. It's not super huge, but I think that there could be about 5 to 6 Pokestops right now in this park. And the reason being is because, according to Pokemon Go, their mission is to get out and get people exploring. And in specific, they have a very high tie to nature, right? Which makes sense. So for park areas, they should allow more Pokestops, a higher density than S2 cell density, to be able to create more Pokestops in those park areas. And then once that area is registered as a designated Pokemon park, you can spawn more Pokemon in there, including rare spawns, which would then encourage me as a trainer to go out and explore all of these different parks all around the world. If that's truly what your mission statement is, because that's not really that far out there, it's not probably that hard to be able to do, but having and allowing people to be able to go out there and explore and create more environments that are like these grind areas that people seek out to, like spoofers and other things like that. If you want to see me check out one of the spoofer locations, it was crazy. This would make that specific experience that much better. And here's what I mean. Let me show you. All right, we are opening Pokemon Go and we are going to be in a park area right here. Okay, so we have 2 Pokestops and we have a gym. Okay, so pretty decent for this. But for me personally, let's just say that this park was double as big, right? Like, we have another park over there, 2 Pokestops, and I know these parks look a little bit small, but this park, maybe like a 7-minute complete round all the way around the outside, right? But we only have 2 Pokestops in 1 gym. So could I really play Comday here? I couldn't. But what if it allowed me, and I know that, you know, we'd probably need to have signs and recognition, so maybe this park wouldn't be the best example, but maybe there was another thing over there on that side and over there in the corner, and maybe there was a Frolf course in the corner, and maybe there's another sign over here in this corner that allowed me to be able to put 5 Pokestops, doubling the density. So you were able to, in park areas, put 2 stops per S2 cell. And you could go and geomap this area, and ambassadors that play the game, right, because they're really focusing on their ambassador program, could be able to be granted, like, oh, okay, submit a couple park areas in your area that will tag that park area for us to go through and to allow 2 stops for the price of 1 in all of those areas, which would then allow this area to be tagged as a specific area. It would encourage people to be in these areas more, which is outside in nature exploring, and then it would allow Niantic to recognize this as a park area and boost the spawns, because right now I see 5 Pokemon, which is actually not that bad right now, right? 5 Pokemon in here. But if there were 10 Pokemon in here, and then if I walked around this whole area, it was a more denser spawn, a little bit more like a Comday or something like that, it would encourage me to be outside playing this game so much more. So I think with those couple integrations, allowing the park areas to be more grind areas, allowing bigger Pokestops to be able in more neighborhoods, because I think that's one of the things that misses for a lot of people, is that these neighborhood spots don't have the microorganisms in Pokemon Go that they need. It's like, okay, I want to play. I have to drive 10 minutes down the street. I have to drive 20 minutes this way, 15 minutes that way to play in a a really good area, which is not bad for calm days, but on a daily day basis, is that really what I'm gonna do every day? Or if I was, a couple blocks away, I could walk to a park that was really good in my area. I think that's what's always missed, and that's one of the things that I think that makes Pokemon Go a little bit distanced from people that don't have cars, that don't live in remote areas. Once again, another video if you wanna see what a remote area might look like for those people. If they had the ability to make those park areas better, the game would become better because those people would enjoy themselves in those areas. You can have multiple gyms in those areas now that we have bigger S2 cell densities, or allowing more Pokestops to show up in those areas, because sometimes it's just allowing them to show up. There could be more stops submitted, but since there's only one stop per S2 cell, which in certain areas take up half the park or a lot of the park area, it diminishes the gameplay. And then allowing you to earn a little bit more and interact with your Pokemon and level them up is a massive benefit in Pokemon Go. And the last feature that I think needs to change, well, I mean, it was already a thing, but then it changed, obviously, and all of us have been sad. I mean, I'm not gonna ever give this up. The remote raid system needs to be revamped. It needs to have more chances for us to be able to remote raid, and we don't need to charge as much as they're charging. I get it, they're putting out, oh, for this event, we have more remote raids, yada, 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 but ever since the remote raid changes, while there have been great events, there have been some cool things that entered into the game, the global communities have tremendously suffered, and that's something that is saddening to me, because even though I'm a person that I enjoy being outside and doing them in person, I also see the tremendous value of doing them differently. Right? Does it deter me personally from going outside and doing those things if I had unlimited remote raid passes? The answer is no. I would rather have the 3 guaranteed extra XL candies coming from those Pokemon and then more when I catch it to in-person raid. And even though I can remote raid afterwards, and I probably will, I'm still going out and doing the exact same thing. So for me personally, after all this time, I have not seen a tremendous amount of change in people coming out because of that. Are there more people coming out for raid hours? Sure. Could we maybe come to a compromise and have like 10 remote raid passes each day, and you can accumulate them over a week, and then they reset with Adventure Sync on Monday, so you can get a grand total of 70 remote raids in a week? I think that's a pretty fair thing to be able to do. Let me know if that was a thing for you guys, what you guys would feel about that in the game. But for me, overall, I think it's been a tremendous detriment to the game, and I don't think that it's serving us, and that's just what it is. So let me know if there's anything that I missed that you might like, because I think that these features would really engage people at a different level and rejuvenate the game in Pokemon Go, making it an amazing game in 2024. But let's see what happens. Share this video, make sure to get it out there, make sure to give your comments in the comments below. Love and appreciate you guys. To all my likers, commenters, subscribers, Patreon members, everybody take your support, subscription, participation to X level. I'm gonna see you guys out on the next video. Peace. I want to take this time to thank everybody who supports me in every facet. It means the world to me, and an extra special thank you to all my Patreons. I greatly appreciate the extra support to continue to allow me to pursue Pokemon Go full time, allowing me to create my daily video uploads in the most timely fashion for everyone's benefit. Plus, I get the amazing experience of sharing my creative processes behind the scenes and raiding all around the globe with select upper tiers. Thank you everybody for being a part of the Trainer Club. You all mean the absolute world to me, and I will see you guys out on the next video.